All right, everyone. I was going to wait and perhaps do this tomorrow. I was also thinking about gaming, but I decided to do this partially as a response. Some black guy is actually hosting, as we speak, Warski, Based Mama, Sister Danger, some of these other people. There are a bunch of people right now. Definitely share this out. I'd love to get Metokur on board, but I don't actually know how to add him to the discussion here. It'd be a little bit of a problem. I'd like to add a bunch of people. The problem being, of course, if they don't know that it's actually going on, there's no way to do that because I think you have to have an email link, send them the link, you get them on the broadcast page, and then you have to fiddle around with a half a dozen things. And of course, it's difficult because I'm also right now on the actual page too, where everything is live. I decided to address the Kilroy Event stuff personally, because I know that a few people have decided to go to the event there, specifically because I'm going to be attending. And there's some Skyrim sounds in the background, but that just makes sense because it's the festive time of year. Skyrim, it's cold, it's fucking snowy, so it's all good. Yeah, I would ask to J-Wolf, I would ask Metokur on Twitter, but it's there's no, it's not necessarily true that he's going to respond, but I will actually try. Come to think of it, I'll try to DM him on Twitter because I'm a follower of his, and I think he follows me too, if I remember correctly. So I'll send him a direct message. Yeah. Just a moment, folks. I got to send him the link. Got to end every message with clank. So I'll try to get him aboard. And I think the one that Sister Danger and the other organizers are on is still ongoing. So I can't bother them right now because I think they're still live. Let me just say this in brief. I'm still planning to go to the Kilroy event. The reason why is this, and I've explained this in brief. Several people at least are planning to go because I was planning to go, number one. Number two, I donated to the cause, so it wouldn't make sense to skip out. Number three, I was already making contingency plans to go to Phoenix then because of the event. What reason would I have to pull out now? There's one exception. If it falls apart to the point where it's going to be sub-Tumblr DashCon, yeah, I probably wouldn't, actually show up. I'd be like, well, we'll do something else. Any other situation would lead me to try to help. I'm not understanding, I guess, why so many people who have so much to gain from free speech and so much to lose if it's denigrated. I'm not understanding why so many people take joy in the fact that the Kilroy event would be fucked up or poorly organized or whatever they would say. I'm not quite understanding why they wouldn't try to help to make it better, to make it more well organized. As far as I know, on my end, and I'm not an organizer, in full disclosure, I'm not one of the people on the inside of the organization, but I'm willing to talk to the people that are, because I'm billed there as someone who's going to be showing up there. Let me say this, I would rather it go off well. You don't have to, I know that Alsup and I think Based Alaska and a few other people are like, well, they're not friendly towards identitarianism, and I'm not really sure that that's the case, but okay, let me assume that that's the case. Identitarianism cannot exist if you do not have free speech. It's just the way that the world works. If free speech wins, if those that support it win, everybody else from the far left to the far right and everything in between, the libertarian, the authoritarians, literally everybody wins. It's just the way that it works. By the way, as far as this contract stuff goes, my understanding, and I'm 99% sure this is true, is that the contract has actually been dropped so that people who want to show up and speak do not actually need to sign a contract. That is, if you're signing it, you're getting your slots. If you're not signing it, but you're still a content creator or whatever, or they've been talking to you, you can still show up, and there are other slots that will be available for you to speak, or you can just show up and mill about and talk to people. I don't really care. The only reason, look, the main reason that I'm showing up is because people said, hey, I'm going to buy a ticket. I'm going to donate to this event because Styx is going to be there. or in part, that was one of the reasons that they decided that they wanted to go. That's the only real specific loyalty that I have. I don't have specific loyalty to the Kilroy event or to its organizers. Then, though, I look at who's organizing it, and I see Based Mama. I have no problem with Based Mama. I've spoken with her. Sister Danger, I have no reason to doubt. Razorfist, absolutely, I have no reason to doubt him. He's one of my favorite content creators. As far as those things go, I have no problem. Oh, Jim wants me to DM him? Okay, give me a second here then. I've already DM'd him. He hasn't responded. So we'll see if he messages me back. We'll see what's up. Let me look back through. Yeah. Somebody, McGuffin says, Styx official wants you bad. Yeah, that works. Yeah, as long as he's willing to come on board. Let's have a conversation. If Metokur happens to be watching right now, I don't know. I can't pay attention to chat and to what I'm saying at the same time very easily. If you're in chat or something, I DM'd you on Twitter. Get on there and we'll see what we can do. That would go out for any other content creators from the sort of Kilroy event cycle. And I know it's a significant number of people. You've got to understand, one thing I'm well aware of is that a bunch of people have jumped off of the Kilroy event. I think Tim Pool, Lauren Southern, I think was billed and then jumped off the Kilroy event. I think she did that yesterday. Faith Goldie and others. I think Millennial Woes or Roaming Millennial. I get those two mixed up because they both have Millennial in the name. I'm well aware of that fact. I'm understanding that fact. But that doesn't mean that the event is a bad thing. It doesn't mean that the event is going to fail. It means that people have jumped off. Now, I've been in active communication with one of the organizers. I'm not going to say who, because, you know, privacy and all. I have my own contacts. They're not the same. I don't think they overlap completely with what the average person has for like a list of contacts if they're mainly a YouTube creator. Because I like to branch out and talk to people that are like alt media, some of the smaller creators that aren't, you know, not necessarily dedicated YouTube or something. I would love to help the Kilroy event succeed. If it becomes clear that it's impossible, that's one thing. But the thing is, we're 4 months out from the Kilroy event. It's already raised every penny that it needs supposedly to raise. It's already got a venue. It's already got at least some speakers that have actually signed a contract and will definitely show up. We're halfway there already. You've got to understand that. People need to understand that things don't go off without a hitch. The fact that people who are not 100% as far as, yeah, you know, we've done 20, 30 conferences before. We've reigned over 30, 40 events. Everything went off without a hitch. You know, we're old hands at this. The fact that they're newer at this and they still manage to raise the money. They have no problems on that end. That's pretty damn good. And as far as Dave Cullen, I find it absolutely disgusting that so many people are trying to take Dave Cullen's example and say, well, Dave Cullen is no longer going to Kilroy. It's doomed for sure now. He's telling you. He told you in his own video it's because his fucking mother died. And you're trying to use that as a way to attack the conference. I'm going to take his word for it. Say, hey, the dude's under stress. He's jumping off board because he's under stress. It has nothing to do with the organizational capacity. I'm looking at what I know about it, which is limited, but perhaps more, you know, I'm actually going to be speaking there. So it's probably more than the average person that's randomly commenting on it. I'm looking at it and I think that it's still capable of being salvaged. I don't see a problem with it. Now, again, if it becomes clear that people's worst concern, if people were right and it was like, oh, you know, it's just like a scam or something, yeah, I would jump off board and I'd tell you not to show up. I don't have a reason at this time to believe that that's actually the case. And trust me, you would hear it first from me if it were. So stop worrying about such a thing. Now, I got to check my Twitter DMs and all this stuff. All right. I'm going to send, Metokur has responded. I'm going to send him the link to the Hangout. I think I send him... Yeah, give me a moment on this one because it can be a little bit troublesome. I've never actually done this before, I think. Well, actually, I think I've done it once with Ottman. But he helped me set it up because he's actually more knowledgeable than me. Let's see. Hopefully this works. Let me click on it and see. Yeah, it takes you to the same page, I guess. All right, we're waiting on Metokur. I'm only on audio. Hopefully he will be, because actually my connection's not like the greatest here. But I know you wanted to talk to Jim, so I'm going to have Jim on board. Unlike the other stream. Look, I believe truly in free speech, or I wouldn't fucking be doing this. So if we can get him on here, it'll be funny. I think I've talked to him before anyway. It was a great chat. And I'm half drunk off my ass. I hope he is too, because that'll just make it funnier. Oh, hi, dude.
Hey, is my audio coming in okay for you?
Yeah, I can hear you. Now, let me ask this really quick. Can you hear any echo? Is there a problem with any echo?
Not that I'm hearing, no.
Okay, now I've been talking here for I think 20 minutes or so. So I just wanted you to give your thoughts, because a hell of a lot of people wanted you to talk. You should put out the link, because 10,000 people probably jump aboard. What are your thoughts on the Kilroy event? Because I wanted to hear it straight from you, because I saw like about 200 or 300 of your fans in the last stream. So I wanted to get it. Yeah, it was pretty, it was impressive.
Well, my thoughts on this are, it feels like it's devolving kind of into a shit show. It reminds me, I know people don't like the comparison to DashCon being thrown out there, but from a standpoint of ineptitude of administration and delegation of responsibilities, it feels very, very much like DashCon. They didn't know how to manage their money. They didn't know how to manage their talent. People showed up to see specific guests. They were told specific guests were going to be there, like Night Vale and different acts. They never showed up. And the big issue is seeing that kind of happening right now. The list of people that aren't showing up. I mean, you had mentioned Colin. Obviously, he has secondary reasons, which I think most people find understandable. But you've got people like James Alsep, Lauren Southern, Pettybone's not coming, Millennial Woes isn't coming, Baked Alaska isn't coming, Andy and Chris Warski aren't coming, Tim Pool's not coming. And the list, I saw Blair White is having second thoughts about it now. The list seems to be growing and growing. And like the parallels between those two, I get it. I watched the stream that was just going on where Base Mama and the other people were saying stuff like, well, we have day jobs and it's our first time ever doing this. But, on the other hand, you've been given $86,000. So I get it. It's your first time at the rodeo, but $86,000. You could take maybe $5,000 of that and give it to somebody who knows how to plan this sort of thing. When looking at their budget breakdown for administrative fees and security, you're looking at stuff like, I think it was damn near half of it, like 41 to 43,000. And I've heard the counter argument brought up that, oh, well, security is important. What about Ben Shapiro? Well, you guys aren't, the guest list that's showing up at this thing aren't Ben Shapiro. We're not talking about a university speaking gig where people are having to hire out a police force because the university demands it. And so it's $50,000 for a counter sniper team. We're talking about an event at a hotel. I brought up that Sargon of Akkad did This Week in Stupid, and he seemed to be doing a live event, and he had an audience watching. And I didn't see him needing security, and if he did have it, it probably wasn't very many people. It probably wasn't a large budget for security. It looked like it was just a little auditorium, a little group gathering. Those videos are up on his channel. So it's just a lot of things like that. I know Alsep raised the concern about being disinvited. Baked Alaska said, hey, I talked to Dave Cullen. He invited me to this. I put the word out to my fans. They put in, hundreds of dollars. And then within a day or two, and the people on the stream confirm this, within a day or two, I'm disinvited. My name is removed. And I'm basically not given any information. And in fact, on some black guy's stream, if you look at a lot of the super chats that were coming up, a lot of people were saying, I gave a lot of money and nobody will respond to me. Or I contacted you on Facebook and nobody will get back to me. And that's been a common complaint, not just from people that gave money to support it, but people that were invited to speak, like Lauren Southern, saying that she's not, getting any response about the contracts or about any of that. So that's my general thoughts on that. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Let me offer both. Let me offer my thoughts here, and it's twofold. One part is definitely in defense of the people organizing Kilroy. The other part is I am sympathetic towards some of those that were billed to speak and have had problems. I think they bit off more than they can chew, which is to say that two or three people organizing an event of that magnitude, I think originally, I think it was meant to be a small event. And when they realized how big it was going to be, because I think they cast the net wide and invited all sorts of people, figuring that maybe a tenth of them would actually show. When they realized that interest was actually far higher than that, it made the event far too large. Now, I have never spoken to a Baked Alaska. I've spoken to Alsop, and I've spoken to Lauren Southern and a few others. And I sympathize with them to the extent of if they weren't getting proper communication, that's definitely a problem. But we got to realize one thing. I think the lack of communication, don't ascribe to malice what can be ascribed to simply things aren't working quite properly. I think that there were too many speakers. There were, oddly enough, there was too much money raised in too short a period of time, and things went ahead too quickly. At the same time, though, having spoken myself with Based Mama and others, I did get responses. I am convinced, and I know some people, they won't agree with this. They won't like that I'm saying this. I'm convinced that there was no malice intended and that the event was meant to be purely, it's not a scam. It's not, there's nothing particularly wrong with it. It's just flawed like any other conference that was being led by people who didn't have enough experience in doing that. And I think that the contract side, and I think Cullen alluded to this, was basically, yeah, the lawyers sort of drew this stuff up. And then, those of us who didn't necessarily like this idea, we were kind of sidelined for the moment. Then we realized what happened. We sort of swept in. Cullen, as far as I'm concerned, it's totally moronic that people are trying to use him as a reason to attack the Kilroy event. He's saying his mom died. It's so beyond me to think that anybody would think it was a good idea to say, well, Cullen's jumped off board. The Kilroy conference is dying. He's got his own stuff to deal with. He's telling people why, and they're reading into it more than that. But one thing I can understand, any individual who plan to show up because they're chosen e-celeb, whether it's Southern or whoever it happens to be, if they signed up for it, they bought a ticket, because one or two people were going to be there, and then that person's not going to be there, that just, in my mind, that is definitely a problem, and it should be addressed. Like, maybe they should be refunded, and like the fundraising should continue or something. That would make sense to me. Like, I would make up my part, on my own. Like, I could definitely pay if it came down to it and it was a few grand short. I would make up the fucking difference just to be able to go, and I'd say, hey, give me a couple extra slots or something, because I care about that. For me, I hope you understand this, and I want to hear your thoughts about this. My mind is that because people have signed up for the conference and bought tickets, they're saying, hey, I'm going to go to Phoenix because Styx is going to be there, or in part because Styx is going to be there. It's my responsibility. It's no longer my right to say I'm not going to go unless it's canceled or unless it's going to be so absolutely terrible that there will be no actual event and it will literally be DashCon. I wanted to hear your thoughts about that, because I've told people, and people, I think mostly they understand that it's not like, loyalty to Based Mama or something like that. I have no problem with the organizers. For me, it's loyalty mostly to my fans.
No. I mean, I do understand that. I mean, I think Andy Warski has a good workaround to that. I mean, he has issues with the organization and the organizers, which I think are completely legitimate. Wanting to do a panel, not getting any response on it, being told he had to do a certain panel that he didn't want to do. And he feels bad that he's got fans coming out, and so he's going to go down there and do a separate thing. So for the Andy Warski fans that are coming out, he's going to meet them ahead of time and hang out with them, and then go with the older ones over 21 to do a bar hop. So he's found a way to address the issue of, well, shit, I'm flying out to Phoenix or wherever, and I wanted to see Warski, but you're not going to be at this Kilroy thing. Well, now you can come hang out in the bar with me. So I think that's a good workaround. You know, one of the issues I had, the thing that really caught my attention about all this in the beginning, was Tim Pool had raised issues about the NDA and the non-compete. You know, saying I've done a bunch of different speaking gigs. I find it really weird that I have a 3-year NDA and a 16-month non-compete contract. Now, in the comment section, as Tim Pool was talking about this, because the way Pool put it is much like the way Andy put it, and kind of like how you're talking about it. You know, hey, I help promote this. I help people, you know, them raise funds for this. I have a responsibility to the people that I got the message out to so they know what's going on. Because he didn't want them just to show up and then, you know, where the fuck is Tim Pool? The response he got in the comment section was some mind-blowing shit. Now, one of the people was, the Twitter handle is like Harem Desert or something like that, who's going to be a speaker at the event. Some ex-Muslim activist or something like that. I mean, that's like her niche. And she's apparently, you know, friends or acquaintances with Base Mom and the person organizing it. Her response was to basically say things like, she's deleted these tweets, but I think they're tweet saved and enough people have seen them. So, I mean, if you don't want to take my word for it, or if people listening don't want to, ask around. But just, you know, effectively said to Tim Pool, you're a horrible person. You're a dangerous person. You put people like me at risk. You're a bad ally. And you're a danger to women. So, you know, his trying to be responsible and saying, I have issues with this conference, was met with the most typical virulent SJW kind of style bullshit faggotry I've really ever seen, which is, oh my God, you're such a patriarchal shitlord kind of stuff. And he was getting just shit flung at him for this, to the point where he made a video kind of addressing it. And, you know, that seemed really fucking weird to me. Even when I started talking about it, I had these people start shit-talking me. I had this woman who said that she needed NDAs. She said, you know, one of the reasons we have NDAs at this is because I need protection. Come and say, oh, you know, you better not fuck with an ex-Muslim. I'll teach you a lesson. And then started putting up WebM videos on her Twitter account talking about how she used to be a former terrorist supporter, like some weird kind of implied threat. She's since deleted those. I have copies of all of them because they're funny. So I don't know what the fuck is going on with this show. All I see as an outsider looking at this is DashCon. You've got a group of people that raised a shit ton of money, who promised all these different speakers, and now speakers are dropping out for a whole assortment of reasons. Some people don't like the contracts. Some people are being denied panels. You know, Allsip was saying, I wanted to talk about identitarianism, and was told, no, you can't. But there was already a panel on identitarianism in Ireland. So it was obviously a subject that was going to be broached.
By the way, I don't like to interrupt you here, but Warski is actually in chat. I don't know. Does he follow you on Twitter? Maybe you could send him a DM and send him the link.
Yeah, if you want to give 1 second here, let me throw it to him.
Yeah, Warski, I don't know if you can hear me right now, but you should definitely join up here because it'd be funny. I don't think I've talked to you. That'd be cool. And I have to mute my microphone anytime anyone else is talking. Otherwise, it gives so much feedback. It's impossible here. I hope
got the world's shittiest mic, so it could be me.
Yeah,
I'm going to send you the link for you.
Yours is way higher quality. I don't know what kind of microphone you use. I thought it was like, you know, one of those $1,000 setups or something.
It's a $20 Logitech headset. It's you buy it at Walmart when your normal headset breaks.
See, I use an AT2020. It's like $100 mic, and it sounds like shit compared to yours. I don't understand it.
I don't know. I guess my voice blends in okay with the nice staticky background. So I get people yelling at me all the time saying if I listen to your videos with headphones on, it sounds like I'm getting fucked to death by static. So maybe, I don't know, maybe something about Google Hangouts cleans it up.
I have no clue. Maybe it's the lack of bass or something. I don't know. But while we're waiting for him maybe to join here, I hope he does. And maybe other people, like if Based Mama's here, I don't know, you know, if she knows that it's here, someone tweeted at her or something. I'd love to hear your thoughts too, because I've been in coordination with her. I've got to say this again, for anyone that's not aware, I don't have any problem with any organizer or any speaker, former or current. Like, I'm totally neutral. I'm Switzerland when it comes to this, because my loyalty is first to my fans, specifically. And second, I believe in independent content creation. If there's a Kilroy event, I want it to go well. If it does, great. If it doesn't go well, I'll try to do whatever that I can for it. Like if it became a DashCon, let's say it became like literally a ball pit in a gymnasium. So I don't think it could possibly be that bad. Honestly, I don't think it would be possible to replicate Tumblr. Tumblr is the worst. But if it did, I would hire strippers. I would hire an open bar. I would hire a DJ myself and we'd party down. To tell the truth, I would drop a few grand just to do that. We'd have a good time, like for whoever's there. Because if I'm going to show up, I'm going to give people a good time. It's just the way that I do business. Did he see the tweet, by the way?
Who are you talking about? Warski, or are you talking about something else?
Yeah, did Warski see it? Maybe.
Oh no, yeah, I sent him a DM with the link to the Hangout.
Okay, great.
Yep. So he has that. Let me get your take on this, just a hypothetical, because I want to see what your perspective would be if you were Tim Pool. I mean, let's say you did have an issue with the contract that was put in front of you, and you talked about it publicly, and then friends of the organizers and speakers at the event said that you're a dangerous man and you want to hurt Muslim women. How would you react to that?
I'd say I can understand their perspective, but not necessarily anybody who's not a Muslim apostate. Look, having never been a Muslim or in a Muslim country, thankfully, or anything like that, I can understand that they would be, at a physical risk by being apostates. And they're going to show up, I assume that they would want. It's like when you said how much, like 50% of the cost was security. For them, I can kind of understand it, to tell the truth. As far as me, like I can be my own security, but if someone's like, you get some 5 foot tall Muslim woman, yeah, I can understand. She's probably worried that someone's going to infiltrate and throw acid in her face or something. And I try to, and you got to understand also, it's not so much, I don't really give a shit about my safety so much, but my fans, I definitely fucking care about them. And so if there's enough security at the Kilroy event or any other event I'm at, that is like a weight off. And if they needed, I just hope, one thing I will say, you remember at DashCon when they said, well, we need to raise like an extra, like, what was it, $2,000-$3,000. So, everyone chip in. If they need that, I hope that they get it from the speakers and creators, because I would be willing to do that. And again, it's like Patreon. I don't want to see those that are like donor or subscriber get fucked. If they've already bought a ticket, leave them alone. You let me take care of it. I'll help to coordinate everything. But I need to know what's going on, basically, in order, I guess, to do that.
And so what's your take on the compensation issue? Because I found this interesting. Some people are saying they've been offered no compensation, or there's been no talk of money at all. Other people have basically, on the down low because of NDAs or whatever reason, have said, yeah, we're getting paid. Have you been offered any compensation yet? Has that even been discussed with you by any of the organizers?
Since I haven't yet signed the contract, I guess I can talk about that. I've been offered non-monetary compensation. Something that would be it's not the sort of thing that somebody who's wealthy would expect. It's basically, hey, I get lodging. Everything else I take care of myself. Okay. I've been offered not one penny to speak at Kilroy, and I don't expect them to offer it. Like, I never expected them to offer me even necessarily solid speaking slots. I expected that I would show up and it'd be like, hey, we need you to go in and talk about something on this panel. It's actually better organized than I expected on that end. But the thing is, I'm like some Rubish small town boy. Trust me when I say I have no experience with these things. If I were trying to organize this, I probably would do a shittier job, which is really the problem.
It looks like Warski there.
How you all doing?
Good. I saw you on the stream earlier.
How did I do?
I thought you did great. You brought up good points. You brought up good points, and some of the answers you got were illuminating.
Jesus Christ, that was it's been like, this weekend has been probably the most intense fucking weekend I've been through. My God. And I feel like when I was on the stream, there was a lot of lies and a lot of bullshit being said. And then when I came on and I questioned them on everything, by the end of the stream, I don't know if you heard the end, she wants to now talk to all the people that were disinvited. She wants to talk about compensation now. Everything that was brought up by certain people from the right, aka, you know, James Allsup and all those people, were being ignored for days. All the emails that were sent, all the concerns, they were completely unanswered. And then when this was blown out of the water by a few people, including myself, on that stream last night, now there's conversations happening. So yeah, it's really telling that it took me to do a live stream and make them fess up and discuss what, you know, what's actually happening. And I don't know, I feel like what they did today on Derek's channel, it's just throwing gasoline on the fire at this point, in my opinion, because
it was
we're fucked up. Like, in my opinion, it was just messed up. I've lost a lot of faith in it, man.
Was it just PR to you? Is that how it felt? Like, oh, we're not sorry we did something wrong, we're sorry we got caught, kind of thing?
Yes, because if you think about it, talking about the panels, like the one specific panel when I was talking to Lauren Southern last night, and you know, I wasn't talking to James Allsup, but his video and all that stuff, they have been raising these concerns the entire time. Baked Alaska was raising these concerns, and no one was fucking saying anything. And obviously now that shit hit the fan, yeah, it's all PR at this point. And then I think the most telling thing was they were saying forever that the panels were full. Everything's been, you know, like planned. It's like we can't add anyone else's panel or ideas or other speakers. And then they start saying, I don't know if you heard, but, oh, tomorrow we have a guest announcement. And then everyone in the super chat, everyone was ignoring the super chat, but I brought it up because I think that guy T and a Baked Alaska brought it up. They're like, wait. How have you been telling us for months that there was scheduling conflicts and everything was full, but now you're adding more guests? And I got some DMs at the end of the stream before I hopped on here from people saying that's complete bullshit because new guests have been added recently. And this is after the whole Baked Alaska and Lauren Southern incident. And if you think about it, like I said, you have 4 of the biggest guest speakers whose subscriber count, if you add, is it's over 500,000, wanted one panel to talk about what they want to talk about, and they were denied that. But all their viewers are coming to see them talk about what they want to talk about. And then Based Mama is trying to like adjust it into what she wants them to talk about. And that's terrible. And then after I bring it up on the stream, now it's like, okay, fine, never mind. We'll change our mind. Let's just talk to them. And I'm like, yo, it's people have a bad taste in their mouth about this. People have lost faith on what's happening here, like myself. And like I said, I'm still going to go and meet the viewers, and I did promote it and people are coming to see me, and I'm going to do that bar hopping thing and hang out with people around because I feel guilty about this entire situation that I promoted it. And yeah, man, the PR, like the backpedaling intensifies hardcore. Like
now, Andy, can I ask something? By the way, it's good to meet you because I haven't, spoken.
I've been a fan for a long time, by the way.
Yeah, I've watched some of your stuff. It's pretty damn good.
Thanks, man.
But why? One thing is that I think that there are actually more people that are still signed on than some people suggest, because a lot of the bigger names have climbed off, but that doesn't mean that there aren't other people that can get on. Like, and not to defend any ineptitude, but I don't think that Based Mama and Danger Sister have done a bad job. It's just they're not experienced enough, and it's going to take time to get people back aboard. And I've given them suggestions. My thing was, since unless it collapses entirely, I'm actually going to go because I have loyalty to my subscribers. I've been trying to help any way that I can. And I've got my own contacts. You know, I've got some people that are, you know, they're like larger creators, but they're also fans. I'm like, hey, why don't we get some of these people aboard? You know, it'd be good. It doesn't need to be, I think, as large as it was for a while there. It looked like it was going to be so massive that nobody would have more than an hour of speaking time. I think that's part of the problem. It's almost like the Kilroy event is a victim of its own success as far as the initial support. But then some people, now I've spoken with Alsup, and I have absolutely no problem. I don't want anyone here to misinterpret this. I like Alsup's content. But it seemed like some people who are more identitarian like took this liking to the fact that Kilroy had kinks in it or had difficulty. Even though, as far as I'm concerned, there's no particular reason to believe that anyone was disinvited. Now, if someone can prove to me that anyone was disinvited from the event for their specific views, I would look askance to it. But I want to I want to see it from those people themselves. I want something archived, not just something, hey, you know, so-and-so said. I want to see it for myself. Is that actually out there somewhere?
Well, Styx, I mean, if you look at the people that have left, and Base Mama addressed this on the stream she just did with some black guy, it was either her or whoever the other person was.
Sister Danger.
Sister Danger. But the point was brought up, the question was asked, essentially, and I'm paraphrasing here, but that's generally what was spoken about. Are there any alt-right people that are going to show up now? Because nobody is anymore. You know, all those disinvitations and all the people that were having contract issues seem to be alt-right people. Or, you know, some of them were. I mean, Tim Pool isn't, obviously, you know what I mean. But her response was, well, we've got a libertarian. Now, and Andy, when you were talking about this, you said she put up a response video saying, we don't want you to come?
Yeah, you have you watched James Allsup's video on Kilroy?
Yeah, I've seen, by the way, I have to mute my microphone whenever other people are talking, Andy, so it takes me a second to respond, and that's why there's a delay. It's not due to any lag or anything. Yeah, I've seen part of that, and again, I can understand, but I can't bring myself to believe that the organizers would be malevolent in that case, and that it had nothing to do with, hey, there are so many people that have signed up, there's no way to actually accommodate them all. Are we sure that it's due to ideology, or could we ascribe it to, hey, the skeptics got aboard, then identitarians got aboard when everything was already filled? I'm just arguing devil's advocate here for a bit.
Well, okay, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and so basically, with Based Mama, is she made that video pretty much, you know, just saying, you know, fuck, I don't want you to have your fucking your panel. No, you're not going to do it on that. We don't have time for that panel. But if you do it about, you know, this topic, yeah, we'll have time for you, which just shows to me that she just wants them to talk about what she wants them to talk about. And if there weren't any clear-cut disinvitations, because like you said, there's no, like, James Allsup claims that they removed him off the website without emailing him or calling him or anything like that. So that's, you know, his claim. But from what I saw, from me personally, when I brought up my panel idea, I was just thrown out of the loop. They were like, no, Andy, you're not doing it on that. You're going to do it on this. I wanted to do it on comedy and offensive comedy. And what's the line? Is there a line? And bring up a bunch of people who are really offensive to talk about, like, how we present ourselves. And yeah, it was just shot down. I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
Finish your thought if you want to. Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say it was shot down immediately, and they're like, "No, you could do it on social justice warrior toxicity, you know, or some bullshit like that," which I didn't want to do, but you know, I was like, "Whatever, fine. I'll, you know, I already promoted this, so I'll do it, I guess." And you know, but then them not letting them have their own panel, they didn't want that. And when I was trying to email them, they weren't emailing me back. I was messaging Base Mama. I messaged Dave Cullen with my experience with Base Mama. Me and her got into a really bad spat, and he's like, sorry, man, I don't know what I could really do about this. I don't know what I could really say. She's the one running the events, and she's just browbeating people. So maybe it's not just uninviting people, but it feels as if Base didn't want them there. And with her sending back Faith Goldie a blank email, not responding to Lauren Southern, I was DM'd by some other people who have silent contracts, saying they can't really say anything, but this is their thoughts and they agree with what I'm saying. And it just feels as if she doesn't want them there. And if you watch that video, she's saying, no, like, I don't want you to fucking have that panel. You fucking Nazis. I picked this state for a reason. It's conceal and carry. And people are carrying. So if you want to fuck our shit up, we'll fuck your shit up. It just seems very, very threatening in a way where it's like, not maybe just an email saying you are no longer invited, but it's you know, circumstantial with how they're acting. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but several things. First and foremost, hello to Razorfist. By the way, to everyone in chat and everywhere else, we are not the same person. You're going to get to see us on the same live stream. So fucking enjoy. That's like the greatest thing ever. Hi, Razorfist. If you could say hi there, dude.
Hello, if you can hear me.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, right. I was having microphone issues while I was trying to set up, so.
Yeah. and secondly, just to address that, I'm pretty sure that the issue with Baked Alaska, and I don't know if he's here or not because I'm not looking at chat, like I can't. I'm 99% sure, not being an organizer, not being on the inner workings, I'm pretty sure that it has to do with the fact that everything was overflowing already. And Base Mama can't do everything on her own. It's more like Baked Mama, I think, after a while, because it's like there's so many people that you're trying to coordinate with. It gets a little bit stressful. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt on that one. I could be wrong. Sure. Also, I wanted to get Razorfist's thoughts, just in general, about the Kilroy event, its direction, to confirm or deny whether you're still definitely going to people here and so forth. Like, I'm trying to get people aboard. You know, it's literally free speech on this stream. So say what you want. Just don't use racial slurs, because then Google will have a fucking problem because they're goofy.
I like that you have to specify that before no, I have a unique perspective because I was actually in the room when this concept was being kicked around with the organizers of it before it was, you know, when it was still in the nascent stages. And we met up at the Georgian Dragon pub. Dave Cullen, Base Mama, a couple other people. I know her fiance was one of them. And a Moose dude was there. And, you know, all the organizer folks were there. And basically, it sounded like they were just coming up with this idea on the fly. That's literally how this came to be. You have to understand. I concur with Styx's assessment. Like, don't ascribe malice to something that can be explained away with, you know, simple inexperience. I agree. It was literally a concept that came about when like 4 people were sitting around a table at a pub having a beer. That was it. Except for me, I don't drink. So I don't really see the malice. I don't see the, you know, there's definitely some wonkiness with the miscommunication, and that's what I think it is primarily, is just miscommunication. You know, that's the sense that I get. I don't know Base Mama super well. I don't know Dave Cullen super well. I've met them the once when we hung out at the Georgian Dragon. But their idea from the very beginning was free speech, free speech, free speech. And I think part of it is, didn't Base Mama explain this in a video recently? Something to the effect of like, they had to really focus in on just like one topic instead of having a really broad sort of categorical approach to what they were actually going to be talking about at the event.
I thought that was the case. Yeah, because I can imagine, like, over the course of 2 or even I think 2.5 days,
Yeah.
that would be that with even like if you had a dozen speakers, that'd be way too little time to cover basically anything other than free speech and maybe like alt tech. Like I'm big on alt tech because I think that that's the biggest proponent of free speech. But like you can only dedicate so much time even to such an important topic. Like I think some people wanted to have identitarian panels. And I don't, to explain this to everyone who's in like this, like 4,000 people viewing and to all of you, I don't have a problem with someone being an identitarian. I support their free speech. But if you have a panel about that, it's a lightning rod, I think, for attacks by people that are outside. They're going to cast it. It's a Nazi rally. These people are evil and evil far-righters. They're going to destroy the whole world. We need to suppress them. We need a law against it. And let's go protest. There'll be 1,000 people throwing rocks at the windows.
Yeah. And Phoenix is proximitous enough to California that they'd ship them in by the busload to protest. So, but look,
can I ask something here though? I mean, it's billed as a free speech event.
First off, good to meet you, by the way. Sorry.
Oh yeah, good to meet you. It's billed as a free speech event, and to say that this is too hot a topic to handle because we have optics to worry about seems kind of stupid. And you've got $40,000 for security. So
it's not so much, I think, optics so much as the fact, though, that it would be. It would actually serve the opposite effect. If you have free speech associated with, hey, here's racists, it might not be fair to assess it that way. I look at Lauren Southern. I've spoken with her. I've watched her material for a long time. I know that she's not like a racist TM 2016, but we're YouTubers. We're I hate to say it, but we as content creators and our fans are more intelligent than the general population worldwide. Most of those people are taken in by propaganda. If we let, if a conference, here's the paradox, if the conference precludes identitarians, well, it's not really about free speech. It's basically selective. It's just like the establishment. If it does allow them on board, then it gets attacked. I think the establishment must be reveling in it. When I see Jared Holt from Right Wing Watch laughing about the fact, oh, Kilroy is going to be a disaster. It's going to be horrible. Everyone's leaving. And when I see that, and then I see some identitarian saying the same thing, I'm like, oh, this is surreal. I can't believe this is even happening. It's not supposed to happen like this. Can't we organize something where there's some degree of security against the establishment? I hope.
But I have to say one thing, because I understand your point of view. However, when you use 4 of the biggest guest speakers that you have as promotional, tools to get donations and buy tickets, the people who are going there to see those people, like with whatever topic they're talking about. And then when you tell those 4 people after they've promoted the event and got donations for the event, and then you go, you can't talk about what you want to talk about, that's just false advertising at that point.
I'm aware of that fact. See, I'm not an organizer. I thought that these people primarily rescinded their want to go to Kilroy on their own. Were Lauren and Millennial Woes and these others, were they kicked off? Or did they choose to leave? Razor, you're like semi an organizer, aren't you? You'd know more about this than me.
I'm not an organizer. I mean, they're still trying to wrangle me into signing a deal or whatever contract to appear. But from what I understand, Lauren Southern opted not to go after the Tim Pool fiasco, which I still maintain. I think he could have handled that better. I think there was more than a little grandstanding involved in that one. Because you can let your fans know you're not going to be somewhere without being like, and here's the terms of my contract. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he could have been like, okay, hey guys, I'm not going to go. We couldn't reach terms on a contract. How many times have you heard that from people who are going to star in a movie or, be on a television show or something? Like, this is a pretty common form letter response. But that's just my feeling on it. After that, it seemed like there were a number of people who were like, okay, this is shady because of the NDA. And I agree, like the NDA is a little wonky. But at the same time, I understand some of their trepidation with regard to like you know, wanting to protect ex-Muslim speakers who probably get death threats every day of their life. I can understand that to a degree. I can only imagine the sublime personal hell that must be. But and that's the thing. Like, I'm not even sure. Like, are those people just going to be speaking on, you know, freedom of speech, or are they going to be speaking on religion or whatever? Like I said, it seems like the main thing, and this is if I disagree with the organizers on one thing, it would be the paring down to just one topic. I understand you only have 2 days, but like some kind of variety. Like I got to imagine sitting down, listening to one person after another person talk about the exact same topic would get a little old hat. But then again, I've never organized one of these before, and witnessing this supreme goat fuck, I'm not inclined to saunter on down that road anytime in the near future either.
Hey, Styx, is it cool? I got an email from Baked Alaska, and he was one person who was
Yes, please send him the link, because I don't actually know how.
not a problem.
Yeah, get him aboard.
Actually, what you want to do is you want to click the little like it has like a person and then like a plus sign on it,
Okay.
and put it in the chat. Like, not obviously, it's like in the public chat, in our chat over here, and then I'll copy that and send it over to Baked Alaska. I don't know. I still feel as if that.
And I'm trying to do this, but just a second here, because I don't have my microphone muted. I'm trying to find where's the chat? I don't know where this is.
Okay,
okay, I see it. Never mind.
Yeah, cool.
All right, do you see that?
Yeah, and I understand what you're all saying about the security reasons and all that stuff, but again, you know, if we're worried about security reasons, let's talk about all the ex-Muslims who are heading there. I think that is more of a security risk, though I'm fine with them speaking. I think that's more of a security risk than people talking about Western identitarianism. You know what I mean? And the fact that they were trying to change that into talking about censorship on the ideology, I think that's bullshit, because it was about changing it because it has to be about free speech and censorship or whatever. But then you have a panel that's called History of Identitarianism in Ireland. And then it's like, okay, what's the line? What's the line of what's okay and what's not okay? And you have 4 of the biggest speakers who want to do one panel. And I mean, imagine that panel with the one that's called After Islam or something. Like, that one's going to be way more intense, more of an intense security risk than what Lauren Southern and James Alsop had planned, in my opinion.
Yeah, like as far as the things I was going to speak on is like alt tech, YouTube content creation, basically, and then just general free speech. It's not that edgy for the most part. The problem is with Islamic apostates comes a need for security. With anyone who's perceived, I've been talking to people about perception over reality now for a couple of years. I know that the reality is, like, you know, anyone that's on this chat's not racist. Anyone going to Kilroy, they're not. Alsop's not a racist. Lauren Southern's not racist. But a lot of people have been convinced of that by like idiots within the lamestream media. It becomes difficult, I think, at some points to brand things when everything keeps moving so quickly. It's hard for us to maneuver and make it clear to people outside of like the YouTube community, hey, no, this individual's not actually, they don't actually want to kill 6 million people. That's a lie that's been told to you by CNN. By the way, Baked Alaska has just joined us. Do you have a mic, Base?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, I appreciate you guys bringing me on finally.
Hey, man.
Yeah, it's good to hear from you, dude. I don't think I've spoken to you either.
Yeah, no, we haven't spoken. I'm definitely a fan of yours, Styx and Andy. You guys make some dope shit. But yeah, I mean, I think I wanted to speak because I hear a lot of people saying, oh, nobody was disinvited, that doesn't exist, and all that. So I just wanted to give my account real quick, if that's okay. Is that cool?
Absolutely, my man.
All right, cool. So, yeah, basically, so what happened with me is I was invited by Dave Cullen, and if you guys don't know, I was recently given a lifetime ban from Twitter. I had about 200,000 followers. I was verified. My Periscope was about 60,000 followers, and that was just deleted. Twitter didn't give me any sort of email or they didn't give me even a reason, which is very rare. They at least usually give you a reason. And so that was
going around. A lot of that these days, I hear.
Yeah.
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 Just make a new account and just say fuck it. Just don't tell them it's you.
Well, I've tried to do that, but they have me IP banned, so I actually can't.
If you message me, I can teach you how to override that. Don't worry.
Okay, well, I can't DM you, so I need, like, Andy, maybe you could send him my email or something. I'm having to, like, it's funny, I have to, like, do the old school way of communicating now. I have to, like, email and write letters to people. It's pretty awesome. But, yeah, basically, I feel like that's why Dave asked me, because, I can speak on internet censorship. I've been permanently banned from PayPal, GoFundMe. My book was taken off Amazon. I've been Patreon, pretty much banned from everything. And the funny thing is, when you meet me or if you talk to me, I'm really not like that edgy of a person. I'm just like a guy from Alaska that likes to shoot the shit, and I'm just not very politically correct. But I'm not really I've never advocated for violence or anything crazy like that. So I just thought it was strange that they would put me up on the website. Like, this is the thing. Like, if they just didn't want to have me there or whatever, like, I wouldn't care at all. But they invited me, they promoted me, and I have a ton of fans that paid $250 VIP tickets, and they've sent me screenshots. And then I was removed from the site, and then I emailed back asking how could my fans get refunds, because they were asking me, and I got no response. And I emailed again, and I emailed again, and then I actually talked to, I think it was like, I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I think I talked to like Bunty King, who I'm friends with, and he was like, oh yeah, I just like talked to them, and they're responding to me right away. And so I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, I thought maybe I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I said maybe they're super busy and maybe they're not getting back to me. But then they were talking to other people. They were talking to Faith Goldie. And so it became very obvious that they did not like what I was saying. And they still to this day have not responded about how to get my fans donations. And so honestly, I don't care about me. I care about getting my fans donations who paid $250 just to see me, James Alsup, and Faith Goldie. Specifically, there's a ton of people, whether you like what we have to say or not, that wanted to come specifically for me, Faith, and James. And I think we all owe those people refunds or some sort of explanation, or else that's very unprofessional. You can't just put someone's name on like a concert listing and people buy tickets and then be like, oh, never mind, they're not coming. So I just want to have a real common sense approach to this, and it's just unprofessional to do that, and they're not explaining it and they're not answering people.
I think they answered it today, though. When Derek was asking Base Mama about it, he asked about the refunds, and she finally said something about it. What they said was, if you head over to your PayPal and then you cancel your transaction, it'll be refunded to you. And
yeah, but that's the problem, is they're saying that now. There's been months of ignoring me, and they were just hoping that everything would slip by and that they could keep all this money. Like, they should have answered me then and said, oh, I'm really sorry. Here's how your fans or James fans or whoever can get refunds. We want to make this right for you. And I even told them I was planning on still going and still excited about the event, even after they disinvited me. And I was never offered a contract. I didn't back out. I was disinvited. I didn't have a contract situation. So
speaking for myself, that's the main reason why I'm still going despite all the problems is some of my fans have bought in. I think some of them are still planning to go, so they expect me to be there. It's almost an inverse of the situation. I can understand how you feel though, but Baked, What if it was literally just overflow and like they got swept up and for days they can't coordinate with anyone?
Okay,
there's
okay.
1,000 people. No, there's 1,000 people communicating with them. I'm just saying this is a possibility. I'm not saying that I necessarily believe that.
Well, let me rebuttal, Styx. So here it is. If that was the case, then they would have instantly been able to respond to me and said, you know, it was scheduling. Here's how. Either here is how your fans can get refunds, or sorry, we're not doing refunds. Instead, they completely ignored me while other people that were with the event, they were communicating with. And I would also like to point out, Base Mama and some other people on the roster were in a Discord server dedicated to doxing me, Faith Goldie, James Allsup, and many others, which I find incredibly disgusting, and I don't know how you can. Wait, I don't know how
Kraut server.
You mean I don't know how you stand up for that lady. She's disgusting.
You mean the Kraut and Tea thing?
Yeah.
Wait, they were trying to dox you, and the Kraut and they were involved with that.
There was a whole channel with my name on it. It said Baked Alaska, and it was dedicated to doxing and sending threatening.
I've followed. Listen. Warski, I've followed you on Twitter and DM'd you. Get me if you can get me baked, or either of you.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Show me screenshots if you can. Show me shots of them involved with trying to dox. That changes things a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta get those to me.
So basically, I'll send that ASAP. It was Braving Ruin who released 3 gigs worth of screenshots. You know. Of the server as well. I just like to point out that the server was initially created to basically debunk people, get scientists in there to try and debunk as all the ideas of certain people. So there was lists of names and stuff. But then it came out that Kraut had actually found Coach Red Pill's name. Some more shit came out this morning, actually, that this one guy, Zeph, released all these audio leaks this morning of Kraut basically admitting to doxing on Kiwi Farms, Coach Red Pill's name. There were some pictures up there. There was a bunch of stuff. I'm not sure if they were trying to dox you, Baked Alaska, because I'm pretty sure your name was.
Yeah. There was a whole channel dedicated to my name, and I'm a pretty tough guy. I've been, the center of huge, high-profile, sort of malicious attacks. So, I'm used to that. But the thing is, my family has personally been targeted. I'm in Alaska right now visiting my family and my nieces and nephews, and they were very attacked after Charlottesville. People were calling my parents' business and calling them Nazis and all that stuff, and they have nothing to do with what I do. So I just was very concerned because it put my family through a ton of stress and was really unfair to them. And that's what I'm concerned about. And just seeing that there was a whole channel dedicated to, messing with me, fucking with me, and that Base Mama and others were in this channel, that shows that there is sort of a bias here. And I would like to point out too, it seems like all the people that have been disinvited, sort of disaffected from this event, why are they all seem to be from the exact same sort of ideology? Like, is that really a coincidence?
It might have been.
What is that ideology?
Might have been partially defensive. Razorfist. Yeah, go ahead.
No. All I was asking was, what would that particular ideology be? Because
it's just right. It seems to be right-wing people, like more identitarian right-wing people.
Yeah, but that's a broad spectrum too, because just for anyone who doesn't realize, I know this, and I'm sure all of you know this, and most of the people watching probably do. For anyone that doesn't, the right-wing spectrum is not, hey, I'm a Nazi. It goes a little bit, it's a little bit more complex than that. I know that's what, Right-Wing Watch wants to say, and CNN. Yeah, I mean, if people were trying to dox you or fuck around with your family, that definitely changes things in my metric. If I find out that people at Kilroy were involved with that, that changes things. And Razorfist, I think you're still planning to go, but I mean, I've got to tell you, man, if that was the case, I hope you would reconsider too.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. Like, all I've heard is they were on the server, or like, first off, I'm the last person in the world you want to ask about Discord because I still don't have it, don't know how it works, don't. So, like, I'm not sure how it works, but isn't it something to the effect of, like, you kind of belong to a server and you don't have to actually actively engage all the time? Like, you could belong to...
No, it was a very small selective server. It was literally like 20 people. It was a small group that was dedicated to this, and there was actually people bragging in there that they were doxing certain people that were lined up to speak or were on the disinvited from Kilroy.
Now, full-blown doxing, not just like dossier stuff, like actual like doxing. Here's his phone number. Here's his...
It came up multiple times with multiple people. I can't speak to the effect of what Baked Alaska was targeted with, but I'm doing a video on it. Base Mama is listed. She's listed under, they had fucking tags for like YouTube scientists and academics and investigators. It was some really gay shit.
I saw that part, but the thing is, like, Discord's a foreign land to me. So, I mean, I just want somebody else who knows more about it to confirm, yeah, indeed, this is the person, and they communicate. Like, if someone was just on the server, but never actually did anything there, like they were invited and then everything else transpired, that's not enough for me. But if it was more than that, yeah, I'd address that shit.
It wasn't an open server. From my understanding is, and I've only got a few screenshots of her relating to this, it was the private 24-hour operations Discord, which was invite only. So this isn't like, oh, I went on because I'm a fan of Kraut and Tea. This was, oh, I've been invited into the inner circle kind of shit.
Well, may I just clear one thing up? That Braving Ruin is the one who leaked everything because he had someone in that Discord. And yes, it was an invite-only Discord. And he just tweeted me this. I did not see dox or smearing on Baked Alaska yet, but there were attempts to smear and dox other people, and Baked was on the list, just for clarification. And like I said, there was a couple people who were doxed, but Baked, from what I saw through that footage that I sent you, Styx, yeah, Baked. I'm pretty sure that there was no...
yeah, nothing happened to me.
Not yet.
I was just on the list, and I'm just speaking from previously being doxxed, having to move my address, having to change my phone number, and having my family harassed. It just wasn't a pleasant feeling. I'm like, okay, like that. Right? Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't think anybody would enjoy seeing a whole channel with their name on it that's dedicated to doxing. So whether or not they went through with it, there was definitely some malicious intentions there, and that wasn't very cool.
I would even say, doxing aside, sorry, just doxing aside, let's just pretend that doxing isn't even part of this. Based Mama just being on that server shows obvious bias against what you guys believe.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you were disinvited and not emailed back, and Lauren and Faith Gold.
Yeah, this wasn't like a mix of different people. This was all like sort of anti-alt-right people. And the people that were targeted were all either alt-right or there were a couple of random ones like Paul Joseph Watson.
I can speak to that in terms of her. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'll paste a screenshot on my Twitter regarding Based Mama, so you guys can take a look if you're curious. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No problem. I can speak to that. I can speak to Based Mama's politics because in my experience, she's more of like a libertarian type, bordering on more of like a binary right-wing kind of Republic, at least in the few interactions that I've had with her. So I don't get that's what I find a little quizzical is the idea that like someone who, I mean, I had initially tagged, I don't know that this is actually her politics, and admittedly, I'm assembling this from a very, very, very small sample of interactions, but I initially pegged her for more of like a just straight GOP kind of chick, and then I kind of learned she's a little more on the libertarian side and whatever, so it doesn't, something about that doesn't jive with me, the idea that she would like push people on the right out, because I think she's more aligned with the right in her personal politics. in my experience anyway.
Well,
it might be pragmatism too. You know, literally defending the event against groups perceived of as bringing in
Maybe a little bit of overcompensation to stop protests or a shit blizzard from kicking off. I don't know, but
well, she seemed to really attack. Styx, I would ask if you don't mind. You should check out the James Alsop video. He really covers the whole thing. He has all the screenshots. He talks about the doxing. He talks about his exchange with Base Mama. And like I'm telling you, like left-wing people, right-wing, centrist, whatever. Like I've heard from a lot of people that it just was like she does not like James. She does not like me. I don't think there's any speculation at this point. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I can't speak to that because I spoke to her and had a good conversation. So I mean, I would vouch for that on my end. But that's just
so why aren't we getting emails back? Why isn't she responding to us?
See, I'm not an organizer. I can't really tell you that. Again, the main thing for me is, hey, some of my fans have already bought into this stuff. What am I supposed to tell them? I can't refund like 10 people each like $1,000, and at the same time, like if I go, maybe I can give them like I could do to get strippers or something.
Yeah, bare minimum. You and I'll hit up a pub or something, or we'll fucking.
I would be down with that actually.
Yeah.
If there's an actual ball pit, I will show up. I just want to make that clear.
I promise you, upon my honor, I will literally buy an inflatable ball pit and a bunch of strippers to gyrate around in it if it goes off, with many hitches.
Yo, you know what's funny? When I was talking to the organizers on Derek's stream, I brought up the ball pit as a joke, and then I'm not sure. Sister Danger, I don't think if she caught that it was a joke, but she's like, well, I'm pretty sure I have an inflatable pool and I could probably set that up.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny.
I gotta say real quickly, I want to say thank you, Andy, because Andy is fucking based, and like he asked a lot of really uncomfortable questions to the organizers, which it seems like a lot of people have been afraid to confront about them because honestly, across the board, everyone I've talked to in the beginning was really excited about this event. Like I was really excited to meet you, Styx, and Andy, and like Bunty King is my good homie, and like we want to hang out, and like I think everyone has been like really excited about this event. So honestly, I'm just disappointed that there have been these sort of issues, and I like that there's varying opinions, that people might really disagree with each other. I think that's what makes for a great panel, and that's what makes for a great free speech event. And so that just to let you know, Styx, I had the best intentions, and I mean I still would like to go if we could sort of work this out, but it just seems like I think there needs to be some sort of responsibility taken, and I didn't see a lot of that in the stream. Like if Base Mama would have just been like, you know what, I've made some major mistakes and we're going to address those. Like that would make me feel a lot better. I think that would make my fans feel a lot better, but I didn't see a lot of responsibility being taken.
To you and your fans, I would say I'm going to do what I can to make sure that it goes off well, not being an organizer, which means all I can do is make suggestions and like set people up with contacts that I happen to have. If that works well, I would definitely vouch for having a presence of people that are considered to be Nazis by the mainstream media. Because at this point, I mean, come on, it's better than the alternative is like everything falls apart anyway. Who cares if it gets attacked by the far left? It's
always going to get attacked.
Yeah, Antifa will probably show up. I warned of this, I think, almost a week ago. I said, hey, we got to understand that regardless, it's probably going to have protests and stuff. So why not?
Yeah, and especially at a free speech event, you shouldn't be cowering towards, oh, what's going to happen? Who's going to protest or who's going to be upset? Like, in fact, you actually, like, if people aren't upset about a free speech event where you're trying to stretch the boundaries of what can be said, and talked about and discussed peacefully, then maybe it's not a free speech event in the first place. Maybe that is the whole problem with this whole event is maybe it should not have been called a free speech event. Call it a Kilroy edgy skeptic event. You know, call it whatever you want to call it. but
Well,
when you call it a free speech event,
yeah, I couldn't go then because I'm not really a skeptic. I'm just me.
Well, okay, I'm joking a little there, but what I mean is when you say the words free speech event, and I don't think Base Mama really knows, you know, the weight of those words. It's a serious topic. I mean, people have been, you know, Milo, and there's been so many people that have literally been Ben Shapiro that have been attacked and like chased down. Me in Charlottesville, I got, you know, sprayed in the face by Antifa, almost blinded. You know, so like free speech is a very serious thing, and I think you can't like throw that term around and say, oh, we're free speech, and then be like, oh, we don't really like that panel, we don't like that idea. Yeah, don't talk about identity politics. Don't talk, you know. So you got to choose one or the other. If you just want to have an event with a bunch of cool speakers and content creators like VidCon, then yeah, sure, you can throw people out. You can make different decisions. But when you're making it about free speech and then you're sort of censoring or banning, disinviting, whatever you want to call it, scheduling issues for people that don't seem to be the safe topics, then I see that as a big problem.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Let's just say, because Sister Danger at the end of that stream was, you know, she's really pissed off and upset about this, obviously, and I suggested that because she's like, how would we fix this? How can we fix this? And I'm like, I'm just an observer, but you have to go and speak to all the people that obviously have had concerns for a long time now and that you haven't addressed. Do you think that if you were to talk to them, that you would want to maybe figure something out?
Well, I did send her an email because she said to all those who have been you know, disinvited or whatever, please send me an email. So I did send her an email. So I'll see if she responds to that. But yeah, I'm all for making resolutions. I'm all for making things work. I mean, it's hard to erase. Like, I do have a bad taste in my mouth. Definitely, like, I can't sort of, you know, forget some of the things that happened and how some of the things were handled. But I will give some grace in the fact that, yes, this is their first event they're putting together and all that. And if they're willing to work with me and maybe work with James, and it sounds like, you know, Derek said that they would allow that identitarian panel on. So if they would allow that and allow us to be back, I mean, you know, they say scheduling issues. I'll just be the guy I'll be the MC at the identitarian, you know, panel. I don't need like some major spot. And by the way, to make it clear too, I was not offered any money. I was not offered accommodations or airfare. I was under the impression that I was paying for all this myself. So there's nothing I'm making off this. I just thought this was a great way to network with other people and get some ideas out there and see some of y'all. So yeah, if we can work this out in a peaceful, fun way, I'm totally down to get this all back together.
Yeah, because see, that would be definitely like the preferred thing would be for people who are independent content creators. It's a good example. It's a good way for them to put themselves out there. It's good for the conference, the event. And it's good, I think, it's good for other people too, because we get to meet all one another as well.
Yeah, definitely. I was very excited in why I still want, like, whether I go to Kilroy, like, in the building or not, I'm still going because I feel like I have to, obviously, and I want to meet everyone. And obviously the people who paid to see me, because like you said, Baked, I have people, you know, DMing me. They paid $250 for that VIP party thing and they feel ripped off. And, you know, like I feel fucking horrible about that. But yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think it might almost be worth like relaunching the guest lineup.
No, Kilroy 2.0. Now with a ball pit.
Because I felt like, and I think Base Mom more or less admitted this in one of those videos, I forget which one, that they funded it like almost too fast. So they had to start booking guests too fast. Like, I mean, look, this thing doesn't even happen till what, April? So, like, you know, they were kind of ahead of the curve on that. I think they just moved too fast and fucked up in a lot of ways. Regardless, you know, there was any discrimination.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that it's 6 months away and it's a 2-day event, and you're trying to tell me that there's scheduling issues. And you know, I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but I'm just saying I looked at some of the other speakers, and there were speakers added after me, and many of them had significantly less of a fan base. I didn't know who many of those people are. And you know, maybe they are cool people, and that's fine. But you know, I was added before people, and you would think they would have priority, like Andy was saying earlier, on some of the bigger names that brought out some of the big donations. That I know several of my fans who bought the VIP tickets, $250, because they wanted to meet me and hang out with me, and I was really pushing the event and all that. And I mean, the bottom line here is you cannot put someone's face on a event where you're purchasing $250 tickets and then take that person's face off. You cannot promote them and just be like, oh, never mind, they're not there. That is the, I think, core issue of the mistakes that happened.
Yeah, that's definitely been a problem. But now the guest list actually is completely empty right now. I'm hoping it gets recompiled. I would like to know who is definitely going, who is probably going, and who has dropped out. Like that, my biggest concern is, hey, is it sustainable? Should I be contacting other people? Like, is there a huge vacuum now? And should I be getting like maybe a couple people, smaller creators, alt tech aboard? Something like that. I'm actually, because I want to help the Kilroy event do well, not even having the benefit of being an organizer. But I can definitely understand why people have concerns. Anyone discrediting them and saying, well, you know, it's bad person because they have concerns, they're not 100% on board. It's like, oh, what do you expect, dude? At this point, it's kind of innate.
Yeah. I can say for my part, I mean, it's in my neighborhood. I'll be going. I could take a long walk and wind up there by accident. So I shouldn't say that. The city is so fucking huge. But anyway.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm inclined to show up. We got to prove that we're not one another, because everyone still thinks that. It's impossible, I tell you.
First, we have to set up the containment field, I think. But
well, I noticed you two are never talking at the same time.
This is
we're trying to talk over each other, yeah.
But yeah, no, I would love to go and hopefully be able to speak on internet censorship, because that's affected me. And the biggest part about this, I honestly could care less about speaking. I was more excited to hang out with all the other content creators and sort of shoot the shit and just like get to know some people, network with some people that I haven't met yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's by the way, Metokur, you haven't talked in like half an hour, dude. Are you asleep?
No. I just didn't want to interrupt. I guess I'm outside the pack on this. I don't know. I mean, you all are way too forgiving. It feels like you were used as a commodity to raise money, and then some of your concerns were pushed aside once the goal was hit. And it feels like cucking out to say that, like, you know, certain viewpoints are going to bring in dumb people that are going to criticize us for having them there. Well, I mean, are you going to kneel down to the lowest common denominator when it comes to free speech? Like, I can't associate with this person because you know, some dumb motherfucker is going to think that they're a white nationalist, so I can't talk to them. I mean, that's the same shit Peterson said about Faith Goldie. If you believe in the principles of free speech, you can't be afraid of the pushback you get when you hold an event and let people talk about things.
I get with that, but you're also ascribing motive that we haven't confirmed.
Well, like I
was directly addressing Styx when he had said that.
Oh, okay.
You know, maybe one of the reasons is you're going to get people that are just uneducated, or they're going to see the the topics that are discussed or the people that are showing up.
I gotcha.
And they're going to
No, my man, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that anyone is uneducated. I'm just saying that it might be a lightning rod for problems. Look, I've got a track record of not really caring. Like, I'll talk to anyone. I don't really care. I don't care if they're a literal Nazi. Like, they literally call themselves one. I'm still going to talk to them. I don't care if Right Wing Watch has a problem with it. I don't fucking care if MSNBC has a problem with it. But if you're organizing a conference where, you know, you have to supply security and there's maybe legal concerns, I can kind of understand. I personally, if I were organizing it, I wouldn't give a fuck. And I would just say, well, anyone can show up. We'll try to schedule what we can. And I would work with people as closely as possible. But for people who have never done it and who are maybe more centrist and concerned about the legal equation, I can kind of understand where they're coming from. I just think that they've overreacted slightly. And I'm working actively to try to address that myself. Like now that Cullen's gone, you know, we're going to need people, you know, actual dedicated content creators, I think, to be like, hey, you know, here's an idea. Here's how to make Kilroy better. Here's how you could make it more shitty and you should avoid this. As opposed to simply saying, ah, ha, ha, Kilroy is going to die. It's like shitty. And then reveling in it. I would rather say, hey, instead of having it be shitty, how can we make it be a working thing for free speech? That's my main concern, because it's that free speech, number one, and also my subscribers, I would say.
But so on to what Metokur just said, because they asked me at the end, would there be a way that we can talk this out and stuff? Because I still want to go to meet all of you and meet the viewers and stuff. But the amount of dicking around that I've had to be put through with Based Mama and the whole situation, basically, it's almost like now that they've been caught in this situation, and now they want to rectify it. Everyone calls them out now. I get what you're saying is, how can we make it better? But once we see the true colors of what was happening, is it forgivable? You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, I can understand that, because, I mean, maybe you feel screwed over. So I can't speak to that because I'm not in your same position. So I'll just defer to you on such a thing. But again, if it can be improved, if it can be stabilized at all and people can come back aboard, like I know some people have dropped out, but like Baked Alaska, you'd love to be aboard. If it would welcome you there, or Warski or anybody else, I would love that, because I'm just a content creator. As far as I'm concerned, this is a chance to meet other content creators and to meet fans. It has nothing to do with, hey, it's some great overarching plan of the biggest content creators, the biggest all tech names. No, I just want to meet a bunch of people. I don't really care if it's a bunch of speaking panels or what form it actually takes.
Yeah. I can understand boycotting on the basis of being dicked around. That I get. The idea that here's where I think they part company with reality a little bit, is when the same people who complain that Kilroy isn't about free speech go to VidCon every year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hang on. But with VidCon, it's a whole different thing. I'm going there because I just know a bunch of my friends are there. We honestly saw I think two panels. It was the Anita panel and the Franny panel, and just to criticize it after. And it was just mainly meeting viewers and then partying. That's all VidCon was. And I think with the Kilroy thing, it was about going there and speaking our minds and doing the panels that we want to do.
Yeah.
So I think there's a big difference between Kilroy and VidCon. VidCon's more
VidCon was not called it was not called Vid Free Speech Con. You know, the point of VidCon is literal. It's like an all ages YouTube sort of event. It can't really be compared to Kilroy, but I definitely do agree with Base Jim over there, Metokur. And I gotta say, Mr. Metokur, you have an incredible army. The amount of times I saw the name Jim in that last live stream was very impressive, and I was laughing pretty hard. But no, I agree with you, Metokur. Like we have been pretty cucked or pretty screwed over, and it really does not deserve forgiveness. And I'll tell you this: I will never like Based Mama. I think she is a cunt. I will say that because it's free speech. But I will, for my fans, go and speak at the event or go be a part of the event for my fans, not for Based Mama. So I would agree with you, Metokur. They're when you see someone, lie to your face so many times, and then, you see them do it to your friends and your other friends and your other friends, it's like, okay, I don't really trust this person. And that's fine. But I would go just for my fans and for the people that want to meet me, because some people honestly were buying tickets internationally. People were buying tickets from around the world to meet, even if it's, 10 people, whatever it may be at the end result. I don't want to, like Styx was saying, it would be a shame to let people down that, traveled all this way or made accommodations just to hang out with some of their favorite creators.
How about bar hopping? That's what I'm going to be doing with everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, it can always be like that too. You can always have like a sub conference, basically.
Yeah. Just stand on the table and start yapping.
Okay, so by the way, this is actually what started to happen, Styx, is that we started to, the people that were disinvited sort of started to make these meetups, and that's when the whole contract came into play, because I think they got wind that we were like, okay, we don't really know what's going on. We're getting disinvited. So we started making our own little meetup around the same area, and then they dropped this whole non-compete, non-disclosure contract. So they clearly didn't want people to have meetups.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a worry. I can't really defend that, but I think that was dropped, wasn't it? Because Cullen alluded to that being dropped completely, if I remember correctly.
I think they backed out a little bit, and they said some people need to sign and some people don't. And when Derek asked them, what if you don't sign, will you be allowed to speak? And the answer was a 3-second pause and then maybe. Sketchy.
I think it was, am I full of shit, or was it like your spot is guaranteed if you sign the contract? If you don't, then it's first come first serve. Here, we'll just lay out the fucking trough, and you can.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, if it's like that, then I have a problem with that. If it's like that,
it sounds like
there shouldn't be separate classes of people at a free speech event. In all honesty.
Yeah, it sounds to me that there's favoritism to certain people who are speaking. So, what puts you in a tier where you don't have to sign? What puts you in a tier where you only have to sign one of them? And what people need to sign no matter what? You know what I mean? And then that way, and with that, going back to the server, now we have the organizer, obviously against the right or the far right or whatever you want to say, and calling the shots on who signs what and what tier they're in. And that's biased. That's not cool, right?
Yeah. By the way, in chat, I think Brittany Venti is there. I can confirm Brittany Venti has not decided to be a stripper at the Kilroy event. Just so people are aware, I don't think she's signed on for that.
Okay, I'm definitely not heading 100%. That's just the last nail in the coffin.
If Brittany Venti is not stripping, I will not be going to Kilroy. I'm sorry.
Why is this bitch named after a Frappuccino?
Hey, you got to respect women around here, dude. Easy. Hey, everyone's asking for Jim. They want the stone cold truth from Jim.
The stone cold truth from Jim? Well,
lay it out.
Base Mama said it in the stream she just did with some black guy in Warski. You want to talk about, I mean, you guys had said there shouldn't be different tiers for different people at a speaking event. What did she say? She said, everybody is getting compensated in some way. That's a lie. We already know that's a lie. Andy isn't getting compensated. She said that the contracts were negotiable. Some people signed them, some people didn't. If you signed the contract, you'd be promoted. If you didn't sign the contract, we can't associate with you. I mean, sure, maybe we'll let you speak, but we can't say your name because you're a fucking scarlet letter to us. That's her own explanation about this shit.
Yeah, and there was no compensation offered to me, and I want to say who, but other speakers with a lot of subs who I was DMing with, and then I got wind of people who aren't even YouTubers. It's just like random academics or scientists or whatever who were being paid. So then that means to me is all of us threw out a promotion out there. Our people donate, they grab that money and use that to fund other speakers. That's kind of fucked up. And now I hear today we're compensating everyone. I'm like, what are you? No, that's not true. I was like yelling in chat, lies before I was on, because that's a complete lie.
Yeah, there were a lot of lies said today, like a lot, and I think a lot of people just don't really know what to trust at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Jim?
This is like a fire festival all over again. Jesus.
Well, yeah, I sympathize for you guys because it sounds like every one of you is saying the same thing. Like, so I mean, some of you find it shady, some of you think it might just be, you know, it's their first time at the rodeo, but it seems like everybody, at least from what I'm hearing in this particular chat, is thinking about the people that were showing up, you know, to meet them and the responsibility they have to them. Like I heard that from Warski, I heard that from Styx. I'm sure Razor's the same. I'm sure Alaska's the same too. I mean, people want to come and meet you or greet you or, you know, do whatever you guys do at these fucking events. I don't know. I don't do them. But, you know, I'm straight. What can I say? But they want to come to these fucking events and meet you guys, and you feel like you have an obligation to them. So I get it. It's like a rock and a hard place. Whether you think it's malice or just ineptitude or the first time they're doing it, you guys are kind of stuck in an awkward position.
I just gotta
I've got to weigh in here because at some point here I need to end this stream because I mean,
sure.
How long has it gone on? But I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and at least talk to the people that are attempting to organize this myself. I have not at this time signed my actual contract. My hesitance with not going is mainly subscriber related. It doesn't really have anything to do with any further loyalty. I will say this, though, it is true. I can confirm this, that the personal contracts come after like the NDA stuff. And I'm like, well, what's the point of that? I'm not exactly sure. But I thought you could go around and if you all wanted to weigh in like one last time here on this stream, it'd probably be a good idea. And I'll mute my microphone so you can definitely, you know, do what you need to do.
Anyone first? No,
You're
me?
first, Andy.
Sure. All right. I honestly, from the get-go, with everything that happened initially, I've had a really bad feeling with certain things. Basically, everything I've brought up and some other things. And Chris, the buddy I film with, he pulled out a few weeks ago from being uncomfortable with all the things that have been happening. And then James Allsup's video was like the reason I was like, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna do this. I do feel a responsibility to see my viewers who have paid, so I will go at least to meet them and do bar hopping. And anyone who's under 21 will like have lunch or just chill out or whatever, do whatever. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. This has turned into a massive dumpster fire, and I don't know what's going to happen. It's in April. Anything can happen between now and April, so we'll have to see. You know, that's all I can say, really.
Yeah, I guess I would say, yeah, it definitely is a dumpster fire. I mean, I question if this event is even going to happen. I think it might not even happen, to be honest, because we're just like, I was talking about these things, and I know Faith Goldie and James and some others were talking about these things. Even Mr. Metokur on Twitter was saying a bunch. And, you know, they're just now coming to light, and a lot of the people who have bought in are just seeing some of these issues. But this is only the tip of the iceberg as far as the problems I've had with the organizers, and it's been really, really bad. And I don't, knock anyone for inexperience or like doing their event the first time, but I do knock them when they are incredibly dishonest and repeatedly lie to your face and just. They've just been super ingenuous to me, and I don't appreciate that. And I thought it might only be with me, and then I saw the exact same pattern with James and with Faith. So to me, yeah, it's not leaving a good taste in my mouth, but I definitely want to show up and at least hang out with the fans and hang out with some of you guys out there. So hopefully I'll see y'all out there if it happens.
Billy,
Jim.
Billy, Jim.
Sorry about that. My mic was muted. I've thrown my opinion. I'm an outsider on this, so I'm not a person that was going as a guest or as a speaker. Some of you know me, so you know what my interest in this would be. I find it funny. So I'm probably not the most down-to-earth person to get a real opinion on this. I'm just telling you what it looks like from an outside perspective. Maybe it's paranoia. Maybe I'm ascribing too malicious of a motivation to these people. But it just that's why I'm kind of falling back on the default position of it. It feels like DashCon, and I don't mean that. And that it's just a bunch of like you're going to go to fucking Kilroy and Sargon's going to be swimming around a ball pit. What I mean is it just seems like it's a lot of similar issues. Like the administration really did have issues, how they handled their money, how they spent it, who they had as guest speakers, where the venue was. And it feels kind of like that to me. So maybe you're right. Maybe it's just their first time and they're having difficulties with it, but I don't know. I'm laughing. So I'm happy.
I think you need to show up, Jim. You're the most requested guest of all time.
Never go into one of these fucking things. I agree. I agree with what Razor said. The VidCon thing. What are you fucking people doing?
May I just add, if you guys are apprehensive to understand or to know like what the whole doxing situation is, a lot of shit has been leaked this morning, and there's a few people that I really need to call out, and I'll be streaming about that later, showing all the leaked audio. And JF and V are going to hop on, and maybe some other people too. And there's a lot of unforgivable actions that certain people have done, and it has to do with that server, which is also just piling on to this whole Kilroy thing. So I want to say that. And we do have
and shout out to Braving Ruin for uncovering all of that, by the way.
Ruin, yeah. Yes, fucked up.
Razor, you got to give your outro here too, my man.
My feeling is just, I think unanimously, regardless of which direction you're coming at this from, whether you ascribe malicious intent to it or mere incompetence, I think the overarching impression we can all form is like they just need to get better with conveying their overall messaging. Right? Like, I think this is an object lesson in not everybody being cut out for every job. Like, maybe they should just be the idea people and delegate. Yeah, they could ameliorate the mounting goat fuck by just delegating a sort of point man for messaging and maybe organizing the guest list. You know what I mean? Have other people who are a little more experienced at that shit organize it. But yeah, even if, regardless of which direction you come at it from, I think, period, they just need somebody out there with a megaphone actually getting the call consistently and not being ambiguous and saying a different thing behind your back than they are, out front. That's just my overall feeling of it.
Yeah. This was definitely a good conversation, though. We do have to have conversations about this, because if nobody raises objections, nothing's going to improve. By the way, big thank you to Warski, to Baked Alaska, and Razor. This is the first time I've actually talked to any of you on audio. And to Metokur, I think this is the second time that we've spoken. So huge thanks for you for coming on the stream, guys.
Yeah,
thanks
for having me.
Thanks.
All right, I think I'm going to end it here for everybody, but that's about all. And maybe everyone else could say peace out.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Inshallah.
Spoon clap.
Remove